Are you trapped in the Pentuda Rectangle? So cheesy, it was good. Like right here, look. See that chart right there? So that's the first position from the E minor pentatonic. The 5 positions, right? So we're gonna go over what this means. It's Music Theory Monday. If you're new, hit that like button. If you're an OG, hit that like button. Hopefully we can keep you. So what we're gonna do is, why do so many students learn this as their very first pentatonic scale and then they're trapped in it for years, okay? I think what it is it's a very easy shape, right? It's just 1 4 1 3. I'm talking about my fingers. 1 4 1 3 1 3 1 3 1 4 1 4. All right, and it's just really easy. The fingering's really easy, but we have 5 positions, and that's kind of what we're gonna do here. There's an ebook linked below. We're gonna go over all 5 positions. We're gonna separate them out. Charts on the screen. I'm gonna give you some frameworks. Then we're going to see them all on the screen, and you're going to understand why now the notes have 2 colors behind them, because when scales overlap, you know, certain notes belong to 2 different scale positions. You're going to connect that, okay? So again, let me know, are you trapped in this one? We're here to rescue you. All right, it's time for you to be safe. And again, if you're new to the channel, and you guys know that have been here, I always connect everything over time. I'm always gonna kind of hit everything in every angle. I've got beginners, intermediates, and advanced players on here, mostly beginner and intermediate. So I'm gonna tell you this right now, I'm gonna say it every time, is you don't have to take everything I present in my lessons that I give to you. Just take part of it. Just take one piece of it and connect it, okay? Be as musical as you can. All right, so again, let's kind of learn. Let's go, let's get rid of that chart, but we'll be back to it. Let's go to the first chart right here in the ebook. This is page 1 after the cover. So this is that same position we did up here, but we're using the open string. So this is first position. Now, let's go to music theory, okay? The theory part, I want you to know that. Top left of this chart, you see how I wrote out G. It's the 1 chord, G major, Ionian, fancy modal name. All right, woohoo, right? Major. And then G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, 1 sharp in the key of G. Now, we're focusing on the 5 minor pentatonic positions, E minor, because that's the relative minor to G. That would be the 6th degree. Look at, if you go up to the G major and you count out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the 6th note is E. That's your relative minor. Those are a family. They're best friends. They're a family that gets along, all right? So what I would do, this is first position because, I want you to understand this, you see how the E minor pentatonic is written below. Well, pentatonic means 5 notes, okay? So we took the E minor Aeolian, which is all the notes rearranged, okay, from G major. And again, if this sounds like wah, 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 don't worry, it's gonna connect. Just keep coming back here, all right? So you see how E, G, A, B, D, those are the 5 notes in an E minor pentatonic. So E's the first one, that's the first position. So do this. If you don't know this, for some reason, a lot of guitar players neglect the open strings. It's easy to default up here and, you know, rip around this, but let's get some open strings. So go open E to G, right? Open A to B, open D to E. Just go back. Okay? So run that first position, and you're gonna see how these scales start overlapping, all right? So let's go to position 2, whoop. Now in this position, you see the first part of this one is that other half of the first position. That's why we have 2 colors. It's all gonna make sense. I think it'll make better sense when we go to the last chart in the ebook, linked below, grab it. All the 5 positions will be on there at one time. I wanted to kind of isolate these to help you, okay? So same information will remain at the top. So this time, if you look at E minor pentatonic in the top left of the chart, you see how it's E, G's the 2nd note in the 5-note pentatonic scale. That's why it's 2nd position. And you see G right here. So here's your 2nd pattern you need to learn, okay? Just run it. And here's what inevitably happens to every single player. And this is the same for me. We all, out of these 5 positions, we have the certain ones that are kind of like we're the most familiar with. But then what happens is our playing can become kind of stale. What we want to do is we want to take all 5 and use them interchangeably as musical as we can. So look. We're not even running the musical part yet. We're just doing the homework, okay? Putting in the work. So let's go to position 3. Whoop. Same information on the top left. Now, if you look, E minor pentatonic, E, G, A. That's why A is the third. You see when you start on A, that's the third position. Now, if you really look at this fingering, it goes like this. Right? It's kind of awkward. You could either run it with your first finger like this, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, and then shift back to that B on the G string, and then shift up, or you could run it like this, okay? I'd say practice it both ways. It's really good to do it with your second and fourth finger, get that pinky in there as much as possible. All right, but again, a lot of this is gonna be totally dictated by the musical piece you're playing, your style, how you wanna do it. There's no right or wrong, okay? So that's the third position, all the same notes. So if I had to ask you to guess or give an educated guess, what would be the fourth position? What note do you think we're gonna start on the low E string? Let's go. Let's see, boys and girls. You're right. You got it. Gold star for you. We're starting on B. E, G, A, B. 1, 2, 3, 4. So here's the fourth position. Look. Low E to high E, okay? So. That one's probably the one I used the least as I was learning all of these positions. All right. Again, are you trapped in the... what did I call it? Pentuda Rectangle. We're up here just, I'm telling you, so many people for years, and this might be you, and that's okay. That's what I'm here. I'm here to bust you out of there. I'm here to rescue you, okay? So, just run. Okay, fourth position. Let's go to the final and fifth position, which is going to start on D. So if you look here, right there, look. So E, G, A, B, D, the fifth position in E minor. Now, you guys... you can use logic, and when you move this to any other key, it's the same thing. You can figure this out, okay? But let's just burn this in our brain. So look, D, E. I actually love this one. I like the way this one feels because I like to go 2, 4, D, E, 2, 4, 2, 4. I mean 2, 4, 2, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4. All right. Now, and I just added it on there. Here's the one we started with because this is the Pentuda Rectangle. All right, so this is the one everyone gets trapped in. This is the one where you can, again, you can move these shapes to any key. You just have to kind of be aware where you're so. But this is the one, this is the first position. So this is the easiest to move because you know whatever that root note is, that's the key, that's the minor key, that's E minor. So it's just so easy to get trapped in this one. It just really is. And every single time I ask a friend or I've had a new student, and I'm not really doing private students, but I've had hundreds, and they've come from another teacher. I ask them to show me what's the first scale you learn, and it's always this one. It is always this one, and it was this way for me too. Okay, again, but you want to be as musical as you can within all these skills. Okay, let's get rid of the Pentuda Triangle Rectangle. Oops. You guys get what I'm saying. Now look, here's what I ultimately want you to do is try and use this chart. This is all 5 positions with the first repeating twice because we got to have the Pentuda Rectangle one up there. You're not going to stay stuck in that. Today, you can do this. So what you can actually do is look at this chart as an overview, and if you want to isolate it, I made them all in the ebook, linked below. But what you can do is try and do something musical between a couple positions, and we're going to wrap this up. So maybe let's take the second and third position. So maybe get familiar with them, and you don't have to use every single string. Maybe we just use the E and A strings from the second and third position. So that would be these notes. Right there, there's like a little riff. You know how you wrote that? You wrote that because you used the second and third position from the E minor pentatonic, okay? And you can always go back if you want to too. Remember, I'm always gonna preach rhythm is king, so get your little beatboxer going, okay? If you're not playing with the metronome, just like this. Watch, let's try this. Back to G. Now you could go back. I'm gonna throw a little loop on here in a minute. It's just a G, like a static G chord, and you just play it on your phone. I have like the ditto looper down below, and then we're gonna kind of we're not gonna noodle. We're gonna have focused, efficient practice using these positions. But what you can do is maybe play a G, just strum it, let it ring out. Back to G. Could you go to E minor if you want? Sure. Or bar chord or here. So you see, now let's maybe string together 5th and 4th position. So here's the 5th position. And again, the reason they're called the positions they're called, remember, is where they are in the pentatonic scale, like the E minor pentatonic scale. So the reason this one is the 5th position starting on the D is because D is the 5th note in the E minor pentatonic. And that's why I put all that in. It's all right there in the chart, okay? So you do your homework, you're gonna nail this. So again, let's see what we can create. Let's create something kind of funky. Like, let me see if I can do something more funky. I'm gonna do it on I'm gonna keep it out of this position, 5th, and out of the 4th. Okay, I literally just played only notes out of the 5th and 4th position on the E and A string. Now, does that take quite a bit of practice? Yeah, because this is a bunch of techniques. But again, that's why I want you to keep coming back so I can help you connect the dots. I can't do it in one lesson, but I'm going to always hit everything from multiple angles. You guys know triads, chords, harmony, melody. Right now, you're just getting 5 positions of the E minor pentatonic. And I know some of you are going to push it. You're going to take these patterns and you're going to figure out what key you're in. But always go from that first position and just use the patterns from there. Let's just here's the looper. This is just like a G chord. Here, try this. Couple more ideas and then we'll wrap this up. What if we strung together all 5 positions, and I'll go all the way up into the first position up here in the Pentuda Rectangle. What if we just did something on the G string, right? So if we went... See that? So that was just the 1st, 2nd, 3rd position. Okay, so you see there, I just took a riff, that's a riff, right, or a melody on the G string, and I just stayed between the 5 positions, right? So what if we did da, 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 what if we did da, da, as I shank it, right? Da, 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 up, shank. Just if you shank, you can either say shank or just call out jazz, because that's outside the lines, right? So again, G chord. Now you could, if you're not comfortable, isolate one of the positions. Like let's say you isolate the 5th and you just try and create some riffs in there. And then you go up to the 1st position, which I keep referring to as the Pentuda Rectangle, where we're all trapped. Hey, watch this. Okay, so again, you guys have everything you need in this chart. And just go through every page. Again, I isolated every position for you. There's no more excuses for any of you to just sit in here, okay? Again, this will always be usable, okay? And if you're gonna practice this first position up here, see if you could do something really cool like skipping strings. Okay, and always be aware of where those triads are in there. You guys know what I'm talking about, and if you don't, you will, because I'm going to hammer that too, all right? So if you want, just G, like to maybe to an E minor bar chord, and then play a little riff out of one of the positions. So watch. It doesn't have to be too fancy. All right, you guys got this. I'm feeling confident that none of you are going to stay stuck, and you know what, I feel cheesy if I keep saying it. But that's pretty much it. Again, this is all connecting the dots. Some of the dots are going to be smaller for you than some are going to be bigger. But again, if you have to have like a logical progression to what you do, you can't learn it all in one day. You're actually, technically, we're going to be beginners forever on guitar, because as soon as we get good at something else, there's something else to learn. But that's what it is. Don't stay stuck in your comfort zone. So if you're stuck in there, you know, just take one more position outside of that. And definitely let me know in the comments, like, which ones resonate with you. Which positions are your strongest? Did you only know one of the positions? Did you know none of the positions? Do you know all of them? All right, the goal is to kind of have you use all 5 positions seamlessly and create something really musical with it. And again, if you don't have a looper, just play like a G chord on your phone for like 30 seconds or an E minor. Take these positions and just play over that and like get some ear training, like catalog certain pathways and things you like. Go, oh, I like that. And then add that to your playing arsenal, whether you're in your bedroom or with your playing out live. My goal is to get you all to try and play music with other people because that's where this really happens on a higher level. And there's nothing wrong, but we'll get to that. All right, drop jellyfish or your favorite sea creature in the comments. Definitely tell us where you're watching from. And that's it. Keep going one day at a time. Only you can stop you. You won't stop. Keep going. I will see you in the next video. Peace.